Today I am talking about pregnancy and postpartum anxiety and depression. This is a very real thing that happens for a lot of women, and I want to talk about a little bit of the clinical side of it and what that looks like, and also about maybe just what's normal and expected, and try to help you deal with all of the above. So keep watching. So, as you may or may not know, I am a mom of 4 kids, and so I am very familiar with what it means to be pregnant and postpartum. I've been in one of those phases for what it seems like a lot of years in a row, and I know firsthand what it is like to go through the body changes, the physical changes, the hormone changes, the emotional changes, all of that. I know every single one of my pregnancies was totally different, and then for sure every pregnancy for each woman is different. So we can Google all sorts of things about what to expect, or is this normal, or is this not, and there's some answers out there. Some of them might provide a little bit of peace of mind or assurance to let you know that certain things that are happening might be normal. But I want to talk about a little bit more of anxiety in pregnancy, what is normal, and what really kind of goes past maybe the normal point and ends up being something that really sets you up for a difficult postpartum. So it's normal to be anxious in pregnancy, right? Especially if this is your first pregnancy, you've never been pregnant before, you don't know what to expect, you don't know what it's like, you don't know what feelings are normal and what are not. And so I think there's just a decent extra amount of anxiety that is normal. I'm a person that just by nature I'm not overly anxious about things, but in pregnancy I'm a little more anxious than normal than my normal, because I want to make sure my babies are okay and that everything is going okay and all of that. That's just our mother instinct, I really think. So allow yourself some anxiety, right? Allow yourself to Google some of those things and be like, what is this? It doesn't feel right, or it feels foreign, right? But at the same time, you have to be able to find a healthy balance between this is a new feeling and I don't know what it is and it's freaking me out, and over researching and over stressing and overthinking all sorts of things that are going on in your pregnancy that a lot might be normal. And I know it's hard because, again, I've been there. I'm speaking from experience. I know it's hard because when things are happening and you're just not sure, it's super hard not to. And I'm not saying don't Google. I have Googled all sorts of things through all of my pregnancies, even though I've experienced it before. Again, like I said at the beginning, everyone is so different. So this is not a video to tell you don't Google things. This is a video to tell you just make sure you keep your anxiety in check when pregnant, because I really do think that if there's a really high anxiety during pregnancy, I think it can sometimes set the tone for postpartum. And let's jump to that really quick. Postpartum then is a whole new can of worms, right? You're no longer necessarily thinking, what is this feeling? What is this? What is that? Is everything going to be okay? Is my baby's heart still beating? Right? You're not necessarily still struggling with those thoughts, but now the baby's here and you have this huge responsibility. You have had your own birth, really, of yourself. You haven't been a mom before, so you have been birthed into this new role of what it means to be a mother and take care of your young, and you have some instinct for a lot of that, but some of it might not feel so instinctual and it can feel totally scary and foreign. So postpartum then is like a whole nother level. And if you had prepped yourself with anxiety, I think it can make postpartum harder as well. Because when we talk about postpartum depression, clinically, you can look up what clinically it might mean, but it also is often really described on a spectrum of anxiety and depression, meaning there's a little bit of both present. So sometimes someone might be diagnosed with postpartum depression when really they show more symptoms or signs of anxiety, and that's because it's on a spectrum. If you're diagnosed with postpartum depression, you might not necessarily be super sad and crying all day and feeling like you can't get out of bed. That could be you, but it could also be that you show a lot more of the anxiety. And they have been seeing a lot more of the anxious presentation than the previously known depression presentation. And I am not an expert on this necessarily. I've worked a lot in my practice with postpartum and pregnant women for these exact reasons. So I know a fair amount, but I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm just saying from my experience and perspective, I think that sometimes that anxiety that was that was present in pregnancy really sets the tone for it to just skyrocket and continue in postpartum. And part of the reason it gets bigger and becomes a bigger monster to fight, so to speak, is because you're fighting against not just your mind and anxiety and all of that, you're fighting against a ton of bodily changes, right? Your body goes through a lot in pregnancy and postpartum, and the postpartum is really considered to be at least 1 year after giving birth, at least. And some people, I think, argue at least 2 years. So that's a long time for your body to reset. Your hormones have done totally new and different things, and it takes a while for that to go back to a homeostasis, right? Your body was also sort of depleted, not in a bad way, and it's in a good way because all of our nutrients go to the baby, right? But then it takes some time for us to get that back. And we know on a very basic level, if we're lacking in vitamin D, if a man is lacking in vitamin D, that can affect our moods, right, as humans. If we're lacking in vitamin D, that can really affect mood and all sorts of other things. And so I'm just giving that as a random example that you're probably depleted of a lot of really good nutrients and vitamins and things like that that you need postpartum to be functioning at your best mentally, emotionally, and physically. So it's kind of hard, right, to decipher, is this really a clinical presentation where I am just absolutely not okay and I'm not functioning well at all? Or is it just kind of that perfect storm of sleep deprivation that's normal, a little bit of anxiety that's normal, huge physical changes that are normal? All of that can be a recipe for a hard thing to deal with, right? So wherever you fall in that, I want to say reach out for help. There is absolutely very real postpartum depression and anxiety that needs professional care. So if that is you, I will put links down below of resources to check out, or there's a hotline to call, things like that. Please, please, please reach out because there's a lot out there. Even if you feel like you're alone on an island right now, there's a lot out there to help. So reach out for that. If you don't feel like it's maybe quite that extreme, but you are just struggling, you do feel like you cry at a moment's notice, or you do feel like you're so anxious and you can't catch a break and your husband's clueless, right? That's not a diss on husbands. They just don't know what it's like to be pregnant or postpartum, and we're not faulting them for that, right? They just don't understand in that sense, and so that's okay. They want to support you. They just need a little bit more guidance sometimes on how to do that. So give them maybe some insight on that, and also if you need to reach out for some support, do that. And I want you to know as well, if this is you, not on the so severe end, but maybe just the end of like struggling in this newness, I want you to know that it's for a time. And I know that sounds easy to say right now. Please trust me, I have a newer baby right now, and it was like just a couple months ago that I was up all night and just lost it, right? I didn't do anything bad to my baby or anything like that, but I came down at 4 o'clock in the morning and told my husband, you have to take over because I can't do it anymore. I cannot do it tonight. I've hit my max, right? Because I am a real person and I am real tired. So I think we have to be able to acknowledge and understand, maybe I'm not in this severe clinical place. Maybe I'm in this hard place, and maybe I really need some good food, a walk outside, and a break. So I don't know where you're at. You could be anywhere on that spectrum. So take a look inside and figure out where you are and know what you need, because maybe you are in the place where you need a little bit more professional care or help or guidance, something like that. Maybe you're in the place where you're like, oh, this is hard and exhausting and I hate it, but I want you to know it's not a forever thing. And I also want you to be able to zoom out and look at it and realize there is a lot going on in my body. There is some real sleep deprivation, and when we don't sleep good, nobody does well, right? No human does well with no sleep. I also want to say too that there are a lot of things that you can do to fight against anxiety and depression in pregnancy and postpartum, and one of the biggest ones is exercise. And I say this in a lot of my videos, but it's because I believe it wholeheartedly and I have practiced it with my kids, and I know I'm a better person and I'm a better mom when I am exercising and taking care of myself. And I know that more on my mood than anything else. My body is not as it was pre-baby, but I feel better because I exercise, right? So it does do so much for your well-being. So please take that into consideration too, and know that that is free medicine. Having a exercise routine, or even if it's just a routine of getting out and going on a walk, that's free medicine. And it is some of the best medicine out there. So don't neglect that, and put it as a part of your day, because it really can help a lot. So put it as a part of your day because it can make such a big difference. I hope this video is helpful for you. I know there's so much more to cover about pregnancy and postpartum anxiety and depression. Check out the links below if you're struggling with this at all. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer those. Hit all the buttons and share with a friend, and know that if you are struggling in feeling lonely and things like that, you're not the only mom that is. Check out my video on navigating motherhood, because I talk a little bit more about that in there. But you're not the only one that's struggling with this new phase of life that seems maybe a little bit foreign or just really, really hard. So reach out to a friend. I promise you she will feel the same. Thanks for watching and have a great day.